Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Kayfabe Central podcast of the Monday Night Raw post-show review, where I go over everything that happened on Monday Night Raw, from the match results to the segments, all that good stuff. I go over on the Monday Night Raw post-show review. As always, I encourage you guys to leave your thoughts down in the live chat, or if you're watching this after the fact, leave your thoughts down in the comments as well. We're going to be going over Monday Night Raw. If you are new here, welcome to the channel. If you are returning, then welcome back. You know how this works. We go over everything that happened, and we had quite a bit happen on this episode of Monday Night Raw. Some very interesting developments that went down. So we're going to be breaking all of that down here on the post-show review. Before we get into that, though, make sure you guys do subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Hit the notification bell so you're up to date with all the videos, podcasts, and interviews that come to the channel. Check out the Kayfabe Central website as well. That's where I post all my covers, posts, articles, written predictions, all that good stuff is over there on the Kayfabe Central website. We also have the Kayfabe Central Discord server, so if that is something that interests you as well, and you want to build a community within Kayfabe Central, I should say, then go check out the Kayfabe Central Discord server. I will be more active in there as well in time to come, so make sure you guys check all that stuff out. Thank you everybody in the TikTok live chat for your support. Let me see what I missed in the chat here. I appreciate the likes, guys. I appreciate the repost. My 4 favorite WWE: Gunther, Seth, KO, and Theory. That's a solid 4. Yeah, we're gonna be going over Monday Night Raw. I appreciate the likes. Shout out to Mike for tapping up the live, and everybody else that is tapping up the live as well. Share your support in the comments. Shit, I forgot Raw was on. I fell asleep. I thought you were asleep right now, Phoebe. But you know what? That's why I do the post shows, because I can just let you know everything that happened and what was good and what was bad. And on a lot of this episode of Raw, it was things that weren't particularly interesting. So honestly, Phoebe, you probably would have ended up falling asleep anyway, because a lot of this was not interesting, and the crowd was just, they were into very little on this show. That this felt like a very casual audience. That may sound a little rude, but they seemed like a very casual audience, and an audience that didn't really understand much of what was going on, which no shock there. I was kind of surprised with it being in Pennsylvania and they were like this, because usually like Pennsylvania and the Philadelphia area, obviously they were in Hershey, Pennsylvania tonight, but I thought they would have been more active. Like, obviously they were very loud at the start of the show, and we might as well start off with that, where Gunther came out, and just as expected, he came out to a chorus of boos, and the crowd did not let him speak. This is exactly what I thought was going to happen with Gunther on this episode of Raw. I mentioned it on the Kayfabe recap, and I mentioned it earlier today on the Raw preview. They did not give him a chance to speak, so all he really said was, I said what I was going to do, and I made John Cena give up. And also, this crowd has to be, a little bit stupid, because Gunther comes out and they start chanting at Gunther, "You tapped out." What a terrible chant to chant on this night, because we're talking about Gunther tapping out all the way at WrestleMania, when John Cena literally just tapped out at Saturday night's main event. It was a pretty dumb chant to chant at Gunther, and I didn't understand. I don't understand why we're still chanting this at Gunther when it happened all the way in April, and the Jey Uso match is something that we just all want to forget happened. So that didn't make too much sense to me, but Gunther was met with a chorus of boos and crowd and taunting the crowd that he beat John Cena. He walks backstage and the camera follows him backstage. He comes, face to face with people like Otis and Akira Tozawa. R-Truth confronts him at one point, and then Adam Pearce confronts him and calls him an asshole. And Adam Pearce tells Gunther that he is done for the night. He can head for the exit. So that is what Gunther does, and it seemed like Gunther was heading for the exit anyway. I don't think he needed Adam Pearce to tell him. But Gunther goes out to his car where AJ Styles is in front of his car. And uh, Gunther's like, do you have something to say? And Styles just steps aside. And then Gunther does the funniest thing I've seen Gunther do. He rolls down his window as he gets in the car and does the "you can't see me" gesture. This popped me because he's just having fun. He doesn't care that he's getting all this heat. He doesn't care that he's getting booed out of the building. He embraces it. And I think he's doing so good. I think he did very well with handling the boos and the heat tonight on Raw. So, yeah, this gets a thumbs up from me. And Gunther looks great, man. I think AJ Styles is next on the list in terms of people that Gunther is going to retire. I think that match is going to happen at some point because we do know that AJ Styles is retiring in 2026. So, yeah, I think that's the next stop for Gunther. I'm still thinking that we wound up having Gunther versus CM Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania potentially. So that's definitely something that can happen. But I do think that we're on this route of Gunther being the new legend killer. What was your favorite moment in John Cena's career? Oh man, that's a good one. It would be wrong of me to say the 2008 Rumble return because I was only like 4 years old at that time. So I didn't actually get to witness that, or maybe I did and I just don't remember because I was a child. But in terms of like moments that I remember, um, man, nothing's even coming off the top of my head at the moment. I don't know why, because I do have some favorite Cena moments. Um, Man, I don't even know. Maybe you know what? I know he lost the match, but him and Punk at Money in the Bank 2011. That was, I think the even as a young kid, that was the time where I was like, man, okay, I really like this John Cena guy because I was still very young. And I think that right there is when, even as a young kid, I appreciated that match because it was so damn good. The storytelling in that was so damn good. Um, and yeah, I think that was one of the cases where I had to watch the pay per view like the day after or something like that, or I had to get it on DVD or something. So like I had no way of knowing spoilers or anything like that. Oh man, the good days. But probably that match for sure. I would say him beating Rock at WrestleMania 29 for the title. But I just wasn't a fan of that whole thing in general. I wasn't a fan of the year-long build for WrestleMania 28, and I wasn't a fan of running it back with those two again at Mania 29. Even though they put on a better match at 29 than they did 28, in my opinion. But yeah, he's had a lot of great moments. I've always mentioned, I've always been like, whenever me and my family would go like up north to a cottage or something, I'd always bring that DVD with me and I'd watch it over and over again. And Cena was the main event of that show. So I think just, Extreme Rules 2012, just because of what that meant to me personally as a kid. And that was an all around like solid pay-per-view as well. What happened? We're going to be talking about what happened, Phoebe. I'm assuming you saw what happened. Yeah, so we'll get into that. The first match of the night was the Usos defeating the New Day. Solid tag match. They did what they do. They did what they do. Um, these two teams are just good. I've always said that Jey Uso is better alongside his brother. I still don't understand why we are having the Usos come out to Jey Uso's theme song. I get that the crowd wants a yeet or whatever, but man, are we serious? Like, it's just Jey Uso with Jimmy Uso at this point. That's the tag team. It's no longer the Usos because Jey Uso is the main vocal point in this tag team. And we got to stop doing that. I appreciate the follow, Mike. Thank you. We got to stop doing that. And we got to make the Usos feel equal again. That is, if you actually have plans to continue with the Usos and you don't plan to have them fall out again or something like that. If the plan is to continue with the Usos, then you need to make them feel equal again, because the crowd was just more looking forward to Jey Uso than they were Jimmy Uso, and that's not how a tag team should work. A tag team is a tandem. People should look forward to seeing the tag team as a whole. And while people may love the Usos and all, and like Jimmy Uso didn't get like silence, he still got pop, and he still got cheers during the match. But you can't have it just you focused on one person. So yeah, I don't understand that dynamic there, but the Usos do defeat the New Day, so that could possibly mean, because they were hinting at it in commentary a lot, that they can challenge for the world tag team titles at some point with this win. Um, we had a vignette after an announcement. So the announcement was that on the January 5th episode of Monday Night Raw, it'll be Rhea Ripley and Io Sky taking on the Kabuki Warriors for the Tag Team Championships. This confused me a little bit, because now where does this leave Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair? Where does this leave Lash and Nia? That confused me a little bit, because we've been building this for a couple weeks now as Alexa Bliss and Charlotte want a shot. No, Rhea and Io want a shot. No, Lash and Nia want a shot. And now we're just gone to this. I'm wondering if that match ends in some sort of disqualification, with Lash and Nia getting involved, and then Alexa and Charlotte getting involved. There's been a lot of like talk amongst like fans in the wrestling community about a potential women's tag TLC match, which I wouldn't be completely opposed to. I think that would be a pretty solid idea. And, all of these women in the tag division can perform. So yeah, I think that would be a solid idea. If that's a WrestleMania plan that they want to go with, I'd definitely be down for that. Backstage, we had Logan Paul hyping up Bronson Reed after he flattened LA Knight last week and tsunamied him on top of a car. He was hyping him up. And then Braun Breaker, was a serious one. He's like, I want to hurt CM Punk tonight. And Paul Heyman told him no, because he has a match in 21 days for that world title. And if he injures CM Punk tonight, then CM Punk may not be available for that match on January 5th, which, is completely reasonable, because, if you injure your opponent before their match and they're not available, then there goes your world title opportunity. So I like that they threw in some logic here. And they made sense a little bit. And then Logan Paul obviously asking help with Rey Mysterio, who he faced later on in the night. So your typical Vision segment here backstage. We had a promo with Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. Actually, it wasn't much of a promo. Actually, they came out, and during their entrance, Asuka was in the crowd and spit the mist out on Rhea Ripley. Io Sky jumped in, but was taken out by Kairi Sane. Kairi Sane eventually went for an insane elbow on Rhea Ripley, but Io Sky jumped on top of Rhea and hit the insane elbow on Io to her spine. So setting up that tag match that I just mentioned on January 5th between these two teams. I'm still wondering where this is going to leave Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair and Lash and Nia. And if we're going to get anything with them on SmackDown, what are they going to have to say about this, right? It would make sense if we heard what they had to say and, be like, oh, wait, hold on a minute. We want those tag title opportunities. Maybe they do something with Alexa and Charlotte and Lash and Nia in the meantime. It's not the most interesting thing, but maybe it's a way to just keep them in the loop a little bit. So there's that. We then went into the Women's Intercontinental Championship match between Maxine Dupree and Ivy Nile. This was a solid match, very solid match. And Maxine Dupree looks better. There were a couple spots here where it was a little bit sloppy, but it wasn't anything at like, oh, okay, that was a botch, or, that was really bad, or, you can't recover from that, any kind of thing. It wasn't anything like that. There were just a couple, sloppy moments in this match where, it happens sometimes. It's wrestling. It's live. You don't get a second take. So I completely understand it when, slip ups happen. But other than that, Maxine Dupree looked great. Ivy Nile looked great. She looks like she came back in much better shape than she was. Like she was already in good shape before she went away for a little bit, but she looks even more toned now. So that's always good to see. But yeah, Maxine Dupree gets the win, retaining the IC title. And she wins by submission by with the ankle lock. She never got released the ankle lock and kept putting it in. And uh yeah, that's how Maxine Dupree won. There was a spot where Maxine Dupree's arm was in a very weird angle, and she was trying to hold on to the ankle lock, and somehow she maneuvered her hand to keep that ankle lock on. I thought she was gonna have to like let go and then re-grab the ankle, but she managed to find a way to hold on to it. That was just a little thing where I was like, huh, that's very interesting. I didn't think she was going to be able to do that. And like even Wade Barrett mentioned it on commentary. Do you have your Trini accent? No, no, I don't. I have to do it intentionally if I were to do it. Um, but yeah, so that was the Women's Intercontinental Championship match. Thumbs up for me. It was fine. It was good enough for a TV match. Been really impressed with his work, which keeps just giving me the inclination that Javon Evans is going up to the main roster very, very soon. Los Americanos approach Adam Pearce and Javon Evans, so El Grande Americano, Bravo, and Rayo. And they kind of, talked some crap about Javon Evans in Spanish. And Javon was like, I don't really know what you're saying, but, I can tell that you're talking crazy right now. And that sets up a match next week between Rayo and Javon Evans, a.k.a. Pete Dunne versus Javon Evans. So, that could be fun if, they let Pete Dunne be Pete Dunne under the Rayo mask, or it could just be whatever. But it's always fun when Javon Evans is in the ring. I'm glad that he's getting this spotlight. I'm glad that he's getting a lot more time to shine on like Raw and SmackDown. And like I said, I think he's getting called up to the main roster very, very soon. We then had CM Punk come out, and he was fired up. He took the logo thing off the microphone, got into the ring. He threw the thing at Joe Testator as well. And he gets in the ring and he just goes off on Braun Breaker and talks about Rick and Scott Steiner, how they're dumb and dumber. And, just goes off on how, his Braun Breaker's whole family is stupid. And, if he mentions his wife again, that there's going to be problems and this is going to go from business to personal, when I already thought this was personal, obviously in kayfabe. But yeah, this was solid. That this was your typical CM Punk promo when he's fired up. CM Punk's never going to disappoint on the in this promo. That completely popped to me. So I was like, you know what, this gets a thumbs up for me. This is typical CM Punk, and this is what he does. We then had a backstage segment with the Judgment Day. Nothing too much happened in this backstage segment. It was almost kind of pointless, where it was just them talking about how they're going to run Monday Night Raw and all the gold is going to be brought back to the Judgment Day. Dominic Mysterio mentions that JD McDonough is on the shelf. Now, I don't know if this is a real injury. I haven't heard anything. I gotta look more into that, if that's legitimate or if there's something else going on. But Finn Balor was Mysterio. JD McDonough is on the shelf, so JD and tonight, and yeah, so kind of a useless Judgment Day segment that I could have done without on this episode of Raw. Yeah, nothing too crazy there. We then went to the Women's World Championship match between Stephanie Vaquer and Raquel Rodriguez. Stephanie Vaquer retains by disqualification. And guess why? Because Nikki Bella interferes. Oh, nobody saw that one coming. Yeah, I called this on the Kayfabe recap that Nikki Bella was going to interfere. this is going to turn into a triple threat match for the Women's World Championship at some point, which again, I've mentioned this countless times before. I don't care to see Nikki Bella wrestle on my screen. I don't think that she's a good wrestler, and I don't have any interest in her chasing the Women's World title or any world title for that matter. And this would have been just fine if you let Stephanie Vaquer and Raquel Rodriguez do their thing and, have a rivalry of their own. We didn't need Nikki Bella in this, or, let Vaquer and Liv Morgan do their thing alone. Nikki Bella does not need to be thrown in this. But that's what's happening. We got a backstage, thing with Nikki Bella a little bit later on that I'll dive into because that tied into another segment. Backstage, CM Punk. We had the Adam Pearce and Paul Heyman segment backstage first, where Adam Pearce asked Paul Heyman again who the masked person is, and Paul Heyman was just joking around. It's like, oh, it's Seth Rollins, it's Bruno Sammartino, and he told Adam Pearce again he does not know, and Adam Pearce tells him that he wants to know by the end of the night. Rhea Ripley then walks into the room after Paul Heyman leaves and asks for a match with Asuka, and Adam Pearce books that match for next week. So Rhea Ripley and Asuka is happening next week on Monday Night Raw. So that backstage happened. That backstage segment happened, I should say. CM Punk then backstage approached Rey Mysterio and just let him know, the buddy thing that, I got your back if the Division get involved, your typical babyface and babyface segment here. Just letting Rey Mysterio know that he has his back if things go down. Jackie Redmond, which we didn't get a lot of Jackie Redmond on the show. There wasn't a lot Redmond interviews or interviews in general, just a lot of just backstage stuff of people doing stuff on their own. But yeah, this was the one and only Jackie Redmond segment actually on Monday Night Raw, with AJ Styles and Dragon Lee, who say they respect the Usos and the New Day and their rivalry and everything, but last they checked that they are the team to beat in the tag division, and say they're going to talk to Adam Pearce right now about whatever it is. I assume a match with the Usos potentially is being set up there. After AJ and Dragon walk away, Nikki Bella approaches Jackie Redmond and pretty much just says that she is a legend and Raquel Rodriguez and Stephanie Vaquer should be shining her boots. So playing into the Hall of Famer thing and how she paved the way for the women's division, all that stuff. Your typical Nikki Bella promo things she's already said before. So there was nothing too interesting about this segment either. That then took us to the main event of the evening. Once again, if you are in the live chat, whether you're on YouTube or TikTok, let me know your thoughts as we go through this post show. We are heading into the main event of this post show review, so make sure you drop your thoughts down in the comments as I go through this. But I am pretty sure that this is the topic that most people just want me to get to and have been waiting for me to get to, which is Logan Paul versus Rey Mysterio. Logan Paul defeats Rey Mysterio with help from the Masked Man once again. Also during this match, Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed tried to get involved, but CM Punk came out with a chair and attacked them with a chair and sent them running back. Afterwards, after Logan Paul beat Rey Mysterio, chaos erupted. The Masked Man fled into the crowd as CM Punk ran down. As the Masked Man gets up the crowd and is on the stairs, he takes the hood and the mask off, and it is revealed to be Austin Theory. It is not Bruno Sammartino. It is Austin Theory. And again, I fully expected this. I had no pop when this happened because I was, I've been saying it for, since it happened at Survivor Series. I'm like, this is more than likely just going to be Austin Theory. A new look for Austin Theory, though. He shaved his head, which is very interesting. He looks much more like a heel now, for sure. And, the crowd was chanting F you Theory at one point as well. And then that prompted Braun Breaker to come out and spear CM Punk, sending him a message saying, if you ever talk about my family like that again, you won't even be able to walk on your two legs ever again. While Austin Theory just stands in the crowd and watches this go on. Now, is Austin Theory the new member of the Vision? It seems that way. And I guess we're gonna find out if Paul Heyman knew all along or if he didn't. And if Austin Theory is actually working alongside the Vision. So um yeah, I'm glad that they didn't save this for the January 5th episode. I'm glad they didn't drag it out all the way until then, because I think it would have been even more underwhelming if you waited till then, because there wasn't much of a reaction when Austin Theory revealed himself, because I think a lot of people just knew that it was Austin Theory, or maybe like some people took a while to realize who that was because of the new look that he has. But yeah, Austin Theory is the masked attacker, and it seems that he is partnered up with the Vision as well. So it looks like the Vision has added a new member. Yeah, that and that was Monday Night Raw. It closed with the Vision standing tall. We're gonna get probably some more clarification next week, potentially on this whole Vision and Austin Theory situation. Next week's Monday Night Raw is being taped, if I'm not mistaken. So tonight, so as we speak right now, they are taping next week's SmackDown and next week's episode of Monday Night Raw as well, all happening tonight. So a lot of tapings. That crowd is going to be there for a long time. So for Raw and SmackDown next week, do not expect the crowd to be lively. That crowd is going to be dead tired. After all those shows, two Monday Night Raws and a SmackDown episode, it's gonna be insane for them. But yeah, that was Monday Night Raw for December 12th, not December 12th, December 15th, 2025. As always, I want to know what you guys have to say, what your thoughts are. So make sure you guys let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Anybody that's still in the TikTok live chat or YouTube chat, let me know your thoughts in the chat before I get off and head out for the night. But yeah, that's going to do it for this one. Once again, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Hit the notification bell so you're up to date with all the videos, podcasts, and interviews that come to the channel. I am recording another interview for the channel tomorrow as well. So that announcement will come very, very soon. So make sure you guys keep a lookout for that on all my social medias. Also, all that is linked down in the description here on YouTube. So make sure you guys go check all that stuff out. And I will be announcing when that interview is dropping. But yeah, that's your Monday Night Raw post show. I am going to call it a night from here, and I will be back on Wednesday with the AEW Dynamite post show review. So until then, I will see you guys in the next one. Take it easy. All right.